Today I'll be teaching you how to make this 70s vintage flower power granny square. So for the small one, I used a 3mm hook to make a hat, and the big one, I used a 5mm hook to make a pillowcase cover. I originally learned how to make this from Crochet by Gigi on YouTube. I did alter this pattern a little bit to make it a little bit easier, but all credit definitely goes to her. Select 3 colors, one for the seed, one for the petal, and one for the background. To start off, I like to make a slip knot, then I chain 4 and slip stitch into that first chain to begin. But if you'd like to do a magic ring or a magic circle, go ahead and do that. So I chain my 4, slip stitching into that first chain. Now I will chain 1 and place 8 single crochets into the middle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to pull the back tail to make it tight. Now slip stitch into that first single crochet. And we are ready to begin on the second round of the seed. Chain 3, and this will count as a double crochet. Place another double crochet into that same stitch. And we're going to continue making double crochet increases in each stitch around. You will have 16. I'll meet you at the end. Count up to that chain 3 space that we started with. Slip stitch. We're done with the seed, so we can get our scissors, cut off the yarn, fasten off, and now we're going to work on the petal. Attach your new color. I picked yellow, so I made a slip knot onto my hook. I'm attaching it to any stitch. Pull the yarn through. We're going to chain 3, and it's going to count as a double crochet. Place 2 more double crochets into that same stitch for a total of 3 double crochets. Chain 1, skip the stitch below, and into the next one make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And continue to repeat that. So chain 1, skip a stitch into the next one, place 3 double crochets. I will meet you at the end of this row. I'm at the end. I just need to chain 1 and slip stitch into that third chain that I started with. And instead of cutting off my yarn, I'm just going to pull up a loop very long so I don't lose it. And now I will be attaching my new color. I'm using brown as my background color, so I just made a slip knot and attached it to the hook. I'm going to put my hook through the first stitch of the seed, only on that orange part. Now I'm just going to pull it through so that it's workable. Chain 3, and it's going to count as a double crochet. So you can see that there's an extra little string in the front. I'm going to pull that through the back just so that it's out of my way. So I'm going to use my hook to try to pull it through the back. All right, now we can continue. So I'm going to chain 4 on top of that chain 3. That's 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to make a double crochet into that space that we skipped on the previous round. Only go through the seed part. So there's my double crochet, and we're going to repeat chaining 4 and then making a double crochet into that skipped space from the previous row. And it is going to pop out from the petal side. I'll meet you at the end of the row. I'm finishing up that row. Just chain 4, count to that third chain that we started with, and make a slip stitch. I'm not going to cut off the yarn, just bring it up and drop it. Now we're going to grab the yellow loop that we had dropped previously and bring it through the front of the brown so that we can work on the petals again. So for this round, we're only going to work on the yellow, on the petals. Sometimes I push back the brown part and pull forward the petal so it's easier to work with and you don't get mixed up. So to start off, we're going to chain 3 and it's going to count as a double crochet. We're going to make a double crochet increase into that next petal stitch. And lastly, we're going to make 1 double crochet into that last petal stitch, chain 2, 1, 2, and repeat 1 double crochet into the petal, an increase in the middle, and 1 double crochet at the end, chain 2, repeat. I'll meet you at the end. I'm at the end. I'm doing my last chain 2 and slip stitching into that 3rd chain that we started with. We're not going to cut off the yarn. We're just going to pull it up, drop it, and get the other color that's for the background. So pull it through the front so we can work with it. We are going to chain 3 and it's going to count as a double crochet. Make another double crochet into that same space. Make sure you're only working through the same color. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make 2 double crochets into the background color. I push back the petal color so I can just work on that background color. So now chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make 2 double crochets into the background color. We're going to continue to repeat that. I'll meet you at the end of this row. I finished chaining my last 5 into that 3rd chain we started with. Make a slip knot. And we're not going to cut off this yarn. We're just going to pull it up, drop it, and grab the petal color from the back. Pull it through the front so we can begin. We are going to start with chaining 3. Make an increase into the next stitch. Make sure you're only going through the petal. 1, 2, make a 1 double crochet into the next, 1 double crochet into the last petal, chain 2, and repeat 1 double crochet into that first petal stitch, make an increase into the next, 1 double crochet into the next, and 1 last double crochet into the next, chain 2, and repeat. I'll meet you at the end. I'm making my last chain 2 slip stitch into that 3rd chain we started with. We are not cutting off the yarn and we're not pulling up a loop. We are going to now make the curved part that goes on top of the petal. So chain 1, make 1 single crochet into that same stitch, skip the next stitch, and into the middle stitch we're going to make 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip the next stitch and into the last part of the petal make 1 single crochet. And that is going to be the petal. Chain 2, and we're going to repeat 1 single crochet, skip a stitch, 5 double crochets into that middle stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip a stitch, and into that last one make 1 single crochet, chain 2, repeat. I'll meet you at the end. I made my last chain 2. Now slip stitch into that first single crochet that we started with. We are done with the petals. We're going to cut off our yarn, fasten off, and get ready for the background color. Grab the background color from the back. We're going to pull it through the front and pull it so that it's a workable length. Chain 3, and this will count as a double crochet. make an increase into that next background space only, so you could pull back that petal color. So we're making 2 double crochets. Now we're going to flip the petal down, and in the back we're gonna see that chain 5 that we did previously. Into that we're going to make 5 double crochets. I also like to put the little leftover from the petal color to the back so I don't have to weave it in later. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. So make 5 double crochets into that back chain. That's 4, 5. Now push it back, and we're working in the front now, and we're going to make 1 double crochet and an increase into those background colors only. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. You notice I'm pushing back the petal when I'm not working on it so I don't mess up. Now we're going to make 5 double crochets into that back chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to repeat what we just did. I'll meet you at the end. To finish off, all we have to do is make a slip stitch into that chain 3 space that we started with. So if we look at this, it's looking like a circle. We want to make it a square. So that is the next step. Chain 1 and make 1 single crochet into that same stitch. Now we're going to make 5 more single crochets in the next stitches for a total of 6 single crochets. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Into the next stitch, we're making a half double crochet. In the next stitch, we're making a double crochet. In the next stitch, we're making 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets into the same stitch for a corner stitch. Next, make a double crochet, a half double crochet into the next, 11 single crochets into the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. A half double crochet into the next, a double crochet into the next, and a corner stitch. 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the same stitch, and then we are going to repeat what we just did all around until we have a square. I'll meet you at the end. I'm at the end, and all I have to do to finish this is make 5 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I started with 6 single crochets, so if I add that 6 plus 5, we have 11 of the single crochets, so it's even as the rest. So now I like to do 1 more row around. And if you look at the middle sections of this square, it's a little bit higher than the corners. So to fix that, I do half double crochets into the middle, and in the corners I do double crochets to even it out. Chain 2, this counts as a half double crochet. We're going to make a half double crochet into the next 3 stitches for a total of 4. So that's 2, 3, 4. Now we're switching to double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The last stitch is a little bit tricky. And now we're going to do this corner stitch a little bit different than the previous. We're going to make 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet. And then we're just going to repeat that all around. Make sure in the middle you make half double crochets instead of double crochets. I'll meet you at the end of the round. So all you have to do now is make a slip stitch into that chain 2 space that we started with. Cut off your yarn. We are done with this Daisy Flower Power 70s vintage square, whatever you want to call it. You can make so many different projects with just a square. To make this hat, I used a 3mm hook. I made a total of 5 squares, 4 around the head, 1 at the very top. Connect them all together and then just make a brim for the bottom, and there you have a hat. I also made a pillowcase, so I used a 5mm hook for this to make the flowers bigger, 4 flowers on each side, and then a border. I even attached a zipper that I had laying around, and I used an old pillow that I no longer need. I hand sewed in the zipper for my first time ever, and I can switch out the cover, make another one, reuse it, wash it. I'm telling you, the projects are endless. You can make a blanket, wall decor, even a sweater. I hope this tutorial was easy to follow. Tag me on Instagram or TikTok so I could see your creations. Until next time.